How to get miracle power through dynamic concentration. The life force which motivates the entire universe is a concentrated dynamic force, which you may tap and use as a miracle working power in your own life. This life force is in every atom and molecule of the created universe, from the microcosm, man, to the macrocosm, the universe. When this atomic power is concentrated into a little 2-inch cube, it can set into motion a chain reaction in the atmosphere, which can level an entire city. When this same atomic power is concentrated in an electric dynamo, it can furnish electric power, heat and energy for the entire human race and change the course of civilization. Concentrated atomic power is the secret force that all the great mystics and masters throughout the ages have taught for working miracles of every kind. Concentration focuses attention. The main reason why most people fail in life is because they are not able to focus the power of their higher minds on the achievement of their life goals. The miracle working power is within them, as we have already learned, but they do not know how to concentrate it in a steady, radiant, and dynamic stream of energy that can dissolve all obstacles and bring them the complete fulfillment of their life dream. An example of how concentration of the sun's rays can dissolve the hardest known substance is this. An emerald is one of the hardest of all known minerals. It cannot be melted in a furnace heated 7 times 7. If that emerald is put into a glass cube where the sun's rays are focused on it, it will completely disintegrate into liquid form in a few hours' time. So too with your mind. Concentration focuses attention, and when the rays of your mind are focused and concentrated on achieving a goal, solving a problem, performing a miracle of healing, or any other objective, all the atomic energy of your mind, body, and soul is released in a dynamic stream of power that can literally perform miracles. Concentration built an empire. The true life story of David Sarnoff, head of the vast financial empire built by him, is proof of how concentrated mental power can create miracles. When Sarnoff was a boy, he became fascinated by the inventions of Marconi, the comparatively new wireless and telegraphy. The ability to send electrical vibrations through the air and receive them at great distances seemed to him a miracle. He concentrated all the powers of his mind on this new medium of communication and worked as a telegraph operator at a few dollars a week. Every new invention he followed with avid interest, and when radio came into existence, he associated himself with that new development. Finally, with the discovery of television, the ultimate miracle which focuses pictures in action, sound and color on a screen in the home, Sarnoff found his ultimate goal fulfilled and became head of Radio Corporation of America. If Sarnoff had vacillated and broken up his concentration during those years of study and research, it is doubtful if he would ever have achieved his present position as head of a vast industrial and financial empire. The mind that is scattered and which lacks concentration and dynamic power seldom ever achieves rich rewards in life. The miracle-working power of the higher mind within you works best when you focus that power on some specific goal or objective. Concentrated power brought him millions. Conrad Hilton was once at a party at my home in Bel Air, California, and in talking to him I learned how completely he built his vast worldwide chain of hotels through this power of dynamic concentration. He told me that when he was a young man in Texas, he thought constantly about going into the hotel business. Finally, his opportunity came to manage a small hotel, and he did this so successfully that soon he was running a much larger hotel. He concentrated the power of his mind on absorbing as much knowledge as he could on the operation of hotels, and he read and studied everything he could get his hands on about his absorbing subject. He was 40 years of age before he had his first opportunity to operate a big hotel, the Waldorf Astoria in New York. His enthusiasm and his great ability attracted financial backers, and he was on his way to becoming one of the world's greatest hotel operators. Even now in his 70s, Hilton has the vibrant energy and youthful enthusiasm of a man of 30. Concentrated mind power has not only kept his mind alert and young, but the vibrations have extended to his body cells and given him the energy of a young man. No one can dance better or longer at a party than Conrad Hilton. Let us define what concentration is, so we will better understand why the higher mind can release miracle power through dynamic concentration. Concentration is the ability to focus the attention on some specific object, or on some state of mind, or an emotion at will. Most of us are able at times to so focus the power of the mind, and we occasionally feel a spurt of energy and power, but we lack the ability to focus this power through concentration at will. This is the difference between those who perform seeming miracles and those who live in a world of failure, frustration, and fear. Everyone has this power to focalize the higher mind on the achieving of a great goal in life, but most people lack the ability to do so at will. Atomic power within your mind. The atomic energy which is dispersed throughout the universe is also within your own human brain. When you think, you use atomic power. When you send your thoughts out into the universe in a radiant stream of concentrated energy, you can stir the atoms and molecules of space and in the minds and bodies of other people, and actually motivate them into action. Sometime try the simple experiment of looking at another person whose back is turned to you with the concentrated thought that in a few moments he will turn and look at you. The atomic energy emanating from your mind is so powerful when it is concentrated that it can lodge in another human brain and motivate it into some form of action. Dr. Rhine, in his experiments at Duke University, proved that mankind is on threshold of great new powers through control of the higher centers of his brain. He proved that some people can actually transmit thought patterns and images to another mind. Some of his experimenters were able to motivate cards and dice to such an extent that it was beyond the laws of chance. When this miracle working power is better understood by scientists, they will realize that the great mystics like Jesus, Buddha, Zoroaster, Moses, and Confucius knew the secrets of atomic mind power and were able to use them to perform miracles of transmutation, healing, and materialization. In this, the atomic age, man will soon perform greater miracles than any he has known up to the present time. In an article in the New York Times, one scientist predicted that in a few short years' time, man will be able to harness the magnetic rays of space and create space vehicles that will travel at the speed of 200,000 miles per hour. It sounds incredible, I know. But what of our present space vehicles which rotate around the Earth at 17,000 miles an hour on the invisible rays exerted on them by gravity? This is one of the miracles of our age. And when man begins to explore the dimensions of mind and spirit further, we shall discover whole new worlds of wonder and excitement. Projecting thought forms. In the dimension of the mind there are vast forces latent. When once stirred into dynamic action through intense concentration, the mind is capable of projecting thought forms which can lodge in space and which other people are able to pick up and discern. This power of projecting thought forms is very much the same as the principle which causes sounds and pictures to be transmitted by electrical pulsations and projected into the atmosphere, and then to be received by the television tube. Electrical pulsations, which are invisible but potent, radiate throughout time and space. We may tap these radio waves with our electrical machines and use them for telephone, radio, and television. They operate our machines in stock exchanges and cause messages to be sent out for thousands of miles in our telegraph and communication. Media. Think how much more powerful your brain is than these machines. Your brain created these machines, therefore it has more power than the things it creates. Your brain also works on electrical vibrations or pulsations. It can receive the mental thought forms which other minds send out. It can also project these thought forms to other people. How many times do people have both written a story, or invented some machine, or discovered some scientific secret at the same time, without being aware that any other person had done so? These are cases of mental projection of thought form, cases in which other minds were able to focus on the screens of their minds and then project in a creative pattern. A simple illustration of how this mental projection works is found in the experience of a student in one of my classes in Carnegie Hall. This young lady was a secretary for a big business executive. She had been with the firm 3 years and thought she deserved a raise in salary, but her boss was extremely taciturn and reluctant to give her a raise. After studying our lesson on how to project thought forms of the things she wanted, she began her practice of this art on her boss. Each day at lunchtime, she sat for a full 5 minutes and did nothing but concentrate her mind on her boss. She talked to him mentally, just as if she were talking to him in person. Her mental thought forms went something like this: I deserve a raise in salary. Mr. X, you will give me my raise. You will give me $10 more a week. I now project this thought form to you. You will receive it, and you will act upon it. She then visualized herself standing before her boss, being told of the raise. She saw herself thanking him, and then she mentally pictured what she could do with that extra $500 or more a year that she would receive. Every day while at work, and for 5 minutes every night before going to sleep, this girl concentrated the power of her mind on projecting these mental thought forms. 2 weeks went by and nothing happened. She was beginning to get a little discouraged, but she continued her mental projection. One afternoon, her boss called her into his office. She went in with her dictation pad, thinking he wanted to dictate some letters. But when she stood before him, there was a strange expression on his face, and he said, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I feel you deserve a $10 raise in salary. From now on, you will receive $10 more each week. The girl was so startled, she could hardly blurt out her thank you before leaving the office. It was a small miracle, but it worked, and it gave her confidence in the power of her mind to project thought forms of the things she wanted to happen to her, and she was soon on the way to achieving every goal that she desired. Concentrated power brought him millions. The only man who was able to convince George Bernard Shaw that his plays should be brought to the screen was Gabriel Pascal. One evening, when I was a guest at his home with Greer Garson and many other Hollywood celebrities, Pascal told me how he performed this seemingly impossible feat. Pascal had concentrated on Shaw's plays for months. He mentally projected them into motion picture form. He visualized himself becoming a famous producer and bringing the beauty and drama of Shaw's plays to an audience of millions throughout the world. To all other offers to make movies of his plays, Shaw had said no. Pascal hitchhiked his way to the country home of the famous playwright. He didn't have money enough to take a bus or taxi. He gained admission to Shaw's home, and when confronted by the angry and unfriendly playwright, he told him of his intense desire to bring his plays to the screen. So powerful was Pascal's mental concentration and projection that he was able to convince the playwright that he would do full justice to his plays in the new medium. Before Pascal left that day, Shaw had signed a paper giving him the sole rights to all his stage plays. Pascal was a student of mental and metaphysical sciences for years. He knew how to project his mental powers and convince Shaw that he should trust all his great works to the care of this man of vision. It turned out that Pascal was able to make millions of dollars for himself through this act, and also to further enrich and beautify the world with Shaw's great art. Regime for concentrating mental power. The late Thomas Watson Sr., who headed one of the world's biggest organizations, the International Business Machines, known as IBM, had one motto, which was printed on a large card that all his employees could see every day. That word was think. The concentrated power of many minds, infused with this idea, built a great organization. The miracle power PF, your higher mind begins to be released to their outer world when you begin to think. But how shall you think? There are many different ways, but the great men of history all used the same mental principle and technique. They concentrated all the power of the mind on one single thought or objective at a time. This ability to concentrate your mental power in a dynamic pattern of thought can be deliberately cultivated. Most people think in a vague and confused pattern of thought. This scatters the mental and physical energies of the mind and body and achieves nothing except restless action. Columbus would never have discovered the New World if he had not concentrated all the powers of his mind on selling this new idea to Queen Isabella. He never gave up this one obsessing thought, no matter how discouraged he was. Even when his men rebelled and mutinied, he continued holding the mental image in mind that there were new worlds beyond the known horizons of his time. Joan of Arc was a peasant girl, with no previous military experience, but her visions of conquest and her intense concentration on achieving victory for the armies of France won for her the opportunity to prove the truth of her visions. Marie Curie and her husband concentrated for 20 years on discovering radium, and they never faltered once in their search for the precious element which they finally discovered. Marian Anderson, the great singer, once told me after a concert in Carnegie Hall that when she sings, she concentrates her voice in a great golden magic circle of love, which she projects to her audience. In the vibrancy and beauty of that voice, there is love for the entire human race. This is what has made her one of the great singers of our time. Jascha Heifetz, the violinist, whom I once visited backstage at that same Carnegie Hall, told me he had concentrated for 20 years for 8 hours to 10 hours a day on creating beautiful music with his violin before he gave his first big concert. You can easily see that these great men and women have used the miracle power of their higher minds to perform the miracles they have achieved in their life work. You have the same power, the same ability, if you will use the higher divine mind within your mind and concentrate all its dynamic force upon the objectives you are trying to attain. These 10 concentrated steps can make you a genius. 1. Sit down for half an hour each day and be conscious of your mind. Ask yourself questions such as, who am I? What is my purpose in life? What is the goal I am trying to achieve? What steps should I take to achieve that goal? Are my thoughts concentrated, or are they vacillating and diffused? 2. Sit down at least once a week and write down your life goal or goals. You can have more than one, but you should take each goal up in turn and concentrate on it exclusively for several moments in your periods of concentration. Don't just write down, I would like $1 million. If you use the power of your higher mind, you will undoubtedly attract all the money you will need for everything you wish to do in life. The written desires might be something like this. A. I desire a better job where I can make more money. B. I desire a higher education and would like to be able to finish college. C. I desire a romance with someone I can love and marry. D. I want a home of my own and enough money to live comfortably in security and peace. E. I would like to own a car. F. I would like to travel to foreign countries. G. I desire friends and an interesting social life. H. I want greater wisdom and knowledge. I desire gifts and talents. I want to play the piano or guitar or violin, etc. I would like to sing, or act or paint pictures or write stories. The above is a sample only of the type of concentrated desires many people have. You can make up your own list. When you once write it down, look at it every morning when you arise, and every night just before you go to bed, and read it carefully. You will carry these thought forms with you while you sleep, and your higher mind will project them to the outer world, where they will begin to take on a life of their own and clothe themselves in the form of reality. 3. Practice for 15 minutes before your mirror with this exercise in concentration. Visualize yourself before the Congress in Washington, D.C. making a speech on some special subject. You can choose any subject and you can say anything you wish, for no one will have the power to stop you from talking. You can talk out loud or talk to yourself, whichever you wish. Or you can go into the office of the President of the United States and talk to him on some subject you wish him to act upon. The purpose of this exercise in concentration is to give you greater power in thinking new and original thoughts, so you can project thought forms that are vivid, dynamic, and interesting. Later, when you wish to use this same concentrated power to project your thought images for some specific thing, you will be able to do so with greater ease. 4. On another day, concentrate for 15 or 20 minutes on memory recall. Go back to the earliest days you can remember as a child and recall the sights, sounds, and impressions you received. Try to remember conversations, the faces of those you knew, your childhood playmates, teachers, relatives, and friends. Recall the Christmas or birthday parties you had, the places you lived, the books you read, the movies you saw. This exercise can be indulged at night just before going to sleep. It will cause you to drift off into sleep easily and will help you develop your memory for future benefits. 5. Listen to a musical selection on radio or Victoria and concentrate on the various instruments to see how many you can identify. 6. Look out of your window and see how many separate things you can see. Then close your eyes and reproduce them. 7. Concentrate your mind on one word such as home, and then see how many different words will come into your mind in association with that word. You will find this exercise helpful in building your power to use words in writing or in speech. Then take words from a dictionary and concentrate on using them in sentences. This exercise can be done in writing or in speech, or you can merely think the words and their associations. 8. Fix your eyes on one subject in your room and concentrate on it as long as possible without blinking. When you feel discomfort, close your eyes a moment. Soon you will have the power to use the magnetic eye, which can hold and control other people. Then practice looking at a flower and close your eyes and try to see it in color and form. 9. Sit for a half hour or more and concentrate the power of your mind on some person or persons you wish to influence for some good purpose. Do not project mental thought forms that are evil or selfish, for there is a metaphysical law which decrees that we receive back in life that which we project in our thoughts. The law is stated in the Bible as ye sow, so shall ye reap. Be sure then that you sow only mental seeds that are good and constructive. 10. Read a page from a book and then close the book and concentrate on the meaning of the words you have read. Do not try to reproduce the words exactly as written, but try to find the hidden meaning of the words. This exercise in concentration will help create originality of thinking within your mind. Einstein, one of the most brilliant men of our age, once said that the greatest genius who ever lived used only 1/10 of the potential power of his mind. Just think what a genius you can become if you use even half of the power of your brain potential. There is nothing you cannot achieve if you will only concentrate the miracle power of your higher mind through your conscious volitional mind. Control your thoughts. Think at will what you wish to think, and you will literally become a genius. It is said of Napoleon that he had tremendous powers of concentration. He arranged matters in his mind as if the facts were in drawers. When he wanted some special fact or information, he merely opened a mental drawer and took it out. All thoughts are filed in the brain in sequence and order. One fact will draw out others related to it. This is what makes some men such great thinkers and leaders. They are able to draw on these stored sense and memory impressions through the power of concentration, and when they need them, they merely turn to this mental cabinet where they are stored and draw them out.